What is going on, everybody? It's KB. Before the episode starts, make sure you go check out StreamerSZN's brand new theme music. That's right. We have full-time, brand new theme music thanks to the newest homie and newest member of the music side of Underground Sports Philadelphia homies. That is Mobley Stay Volk. His new single is out now. It is linked in the description on YouTube, and you'll be hearing it on audio until we can figure out if we can play it on video on StreamerSZN episodes from here on out. That's our new theme music. Stay Volk. Go download it now wherever you get your music, and go check out the music video on YouTube. But now, let's get into the episode of StreamerSZN. Yo, what did you say earlier?
Are you really asking me that?
What is going on, fellow streamers? Welcome into another episode of StreamerSZN, the exclusive TV and movie podcast for streaming platforms on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network. DJ just got his first color bar intro, and DJ will, in just a few seconds, be StreamerSZN canon. As you can see, Dylan is on vacation, so we've got the one and only co-host of the Outside the Box podcast, part of the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network, DJ Hughes, filling in for Dylan for this episode. We got a lot to dive into. We got another round of discussion den topics. We're going to get into San Diego Comic-Con because a lot of MCU, DCEU stuff is allegedly leaking of what we're going to see this weekend. And, of course, we'll get into everybody's favorite segment, the streaming platform Multiverse News and Notes. But before we get started, make sure you're following us on the socials at StreamerSZN on Twitter and Instagram. Check out the Underground Sports Philadelphia pin tweet at UndergroundPHI to get into our giveaway. You got to follow StreamerSZN to be in the giveaway. But we are giving away Wolverine number 22, variant cover edition with the one and only Brian Dawkins on the cover. So go check that out for your chance to win. And you get an entry, a double entry bonus if you subscribe to our YouTube channel. So subscribe, click the like button, hit the bell icon, comment down below with what you're watching movie and TV wise on YouTube. Just search Underground Sports Philadelphia. And of course, subscribe to the podcast feed, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. We are there. And as Dylan says each and every week, leave your recommendations of shows and movies for us to watch on this show, because we are in that lull period of no week-by-week shows, so we need some stuff to review and discuss. But luckily, we've got San Diego Comic-Con this week to talk about. But of course, also shout out to our sponsors. Tomahawk Shades, the best small batch eyewear in the game. You got to wear those Blue Light Plus glasses when you're watching your favorite shows and movies to protect those eyes. Go to TomahawkShades.com. Use code USP for 25% off your order at TomahawkShades.com. Kenwood Beer, which is Dylan's favorite beer when he's traveling to Canada. Go to KenwoodBeer.com and use the Kenny Tracker to see who's got Kenwood Beer on tap in the Philadelphia area. The new and improved Kenny Tracker, I might add, as they just released today, where you can find all the good deals on Kenwood Beer. It is their latest tweet on Twitter. The newest Kenny Finder highlights where you can find Kenwood specials. They listed citywides, buckets, and draft specials. Look for different colored dots to find the closest Kenwood special to you. Guys, it's a recession. Grab an affordable Kenny. You got to be 21 or older to do so. And, of course, please drink responsibly. And everybody's favorite man cave / she shed game of the year, Binho. Go to BinhoBoard.com and use code BinhoUSP for 10% off your order from our homies over at Binho. That includes boards, board accessories, merch, all that good stuff. 10% off when you use code BinhoUSP at BinhoBoard.com. Making his first appearance in the StreamerSZN universe, DJ Hughes. Welcome to StreamerSZN canon, brother. And what a debut. The mic is muted.
Yes. I'm here. I made a grand appearance. I'm so upset because you asked me pre-pod what it was that I said. And I was like, what? And then, like, right after that, I remember what I said earlier. It would have been hilarious if I actually
Well,
said it.
let the people know anyway.
Is this what a vasectomy feels like? No context at all.
Absolutely incredible.
But rocking my one of my favorite movies of all time, Kill Bill Volume 2
fire.
T-shirt. Love my girl Beatrice.
That shirt is fire.
But yeah, I said a long time ago I'd eventually get on here and talk about all the good streamer stuff, and eventually we made it happen. We're here.
We thought it was going to be for Squid Game season 2, but it's a little bit earlier. Also, Kill Bill, shout out Uma Thurman, mom to one Maya Hawke, yes. Stranger Things superstar, which we'll get into some Stranger Things stuff later on in the show. But San Diego Comic-Con is this week, starting on Thursday, going all the way through the weekend. And Deej, we might have to bring the podcast equipment to Connecticut with us in case we get any breaking news to just quick hit it for the people. But San Diego Comic-Con, and for the first time in a long time, I can't remember the last time that I saw it, but Marvel Cinematic, Marvel Studios will be at San Diego Comic-Con this week. Kevin Feige will be there, and we are allegedly, on the record, getting more information about all the Marvel animated shows we're getting on Disney+, which includes What If Season 2, Marvel Zombies, which is, we had one episode of that in What If. It's going to be its own show. And then X-Men 97, which for the people at home, if you've seen Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, you know that outfit that Professor X was wearing came straight from X-Men 97. And for the people, spoiler, no context, go watch Ms. Marvel. Because there's going to be some tie-ins, in my opinion, there. And some other fun stuff that I've been digging up on the internet. A lot of people thinking our girl Monica Rambeau could potentially be classified as a mutant in the MCU later on. But those 3 animated shows confirmed getting information about them, and we are allegedly getting more information about Black Panther 2 Wakanda Forever, which is the one movie that myself, Dylan, and our movie guy Christian are very nervous about, simply because they're still filming things for that movie, and it's supposed to hit theaters November 11th. But the 3 animated shows have me stoked. What If? You saw What If, right, DJ?
I did. I've seen portions of What If.
And from what you've seen, pretty good stuff.
Oh, yeah. It was an amazing show, but, like, obviously I was, like, out of context. So I'm like, for what I have seen, fantastic. But, like, to watch it again, I'm going to like it a lot more, I feel, after catching up.
I definitely think it has, like, rewatchability.
Oh, absolutely. Definitely has rewatchability. I think a lot of this stuff has rewatchability, in my opinion. I mean, I'm been halted in my MCU journey at Loki. I'm like season 1, episode 2 of Loki. But I mean, yeah, once I hop back on that, What If isn't too far away. And I'm actually really excited to get back into that. And
What If, I think, was so well done. And I think that is like the key to so much shit that they're going to be able to do in the MCU in terms of potentially bringing dead characters back, bringing in some of the stuff that wasn't technically MCU canon before. And the fact that we're getting season 2, Haley Atwell's going to be back as Captain Carter, which was confirmed almost right when season 1 happened. So we're going to be following along with her journey again. And we saw Captain Carter in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness as well. So we know Captain Carter exists in other universes. I think those 3 shows are going to be in the light of the public, outside of maybe X-Men 97, because it has that cult following of everybody who's big X-Men fans, and you know the show existed before and it's picking up right where it left off in the 90s. But I think What If Season 2 and Marvel Zombies are going to be so like thrown on the back burner, and they shouldn't be. I think those 2 shows are going to be so well done from what we've seen from What If Season 1 and from the Marvel Zombies episode of What If. Like, those are 2 of my most anticipated MCU projects of 2023. coming in because of how well done What If Season 1 was and how it's story told and how they built up to the finale. And then Marvel Zombies, if you haven't read the comics for Marvel Zombies, do yourself a favor, go get like the digital comic subscription for Marvel and just read those. Like, get a 1-month subscription and dive into the Marvel Zombies world, because it's so entertaining. And I think they're going to build from that storyline in the What If episode and then just build upon it to build that season of the show. But I'm excited to see, like, the information we're going to get about them, release dates potentially, and who might be cast, as voice actors for Season 2 of What If. Because I think What If Season 1 was a bunch of, the Infinity Saga characters. We've gotten a lot more character introductions since the Infinity Saga happened, and since What If happened. Like, What If came out around this time last year. So now, since then, we've had, WandaVision has happened, and What If was shot before. They did all the stuff for What If after WandaVision came out. You have stuff that happened in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. You had stuff that happened in Loki. You had stuff from Hawkeye. You've had, Spider-Man interactions. You've had big movies like Eternals. You've had movies like Shang-Chi happen. Could we have a What If Shang-Chi episode? You've had Moon Knight happen. We just had Miss Marvel wrap up. Like, there's so many new characters that What If can pull from. And I think because it's animated, it leaves that world open to, like, infinite possibilities of doing things, because realistically, if you have the animators ready to go, you just need to find the voice actors you want.
Yeah, and that's why I feel like What If really has the most potential out of all of this. Like, X-Men is going to do its thing because, like you said, it has the pull from the older community that's, like, remembers X-Men 90s. But really, a lot of the MCU has kind of turned over to a younger generation that wasn't really around to see X-Men 90s. So, like, they're going to watch it, but they're like, I don't know how quickly they'll get into it or if they're really going to like it. I think we'll see more discourse about X-Men 97 than we will What If and Marvel Zombies. Like, people are kind of expecting... Zombies is probably the one I expect to get pushed to the back burner the most, because, like, people are like, oh, yeah, it's, like, another zombie thing. Like, you kind of know what to expect with the zombie thing. So, like, people will kind of wait to watch that or, like, won't talk about it as much, versus What If people are going to be, like, all over it. Because, like, I think the thing is, like you brought up, the last one was so post Avengers, so Avengers Saga, like, people are wondering what the next What If is going to be. Like, there's so many possibilities of what they could even choose to talk about, and then how they decide to expand upon that people are, like, immediately drawn into wanting to watch that first and talking about it the most. So, like, I'm on the side that What If is probably going to get the most love out of these three.
Yeah, and I think with What If, like, we've seen immediate payoffs from it, and we've seen, Easter eggs from it, especially in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, where, and even kicking it back to Spider-Man No Way Home. You had Peter Parker in the Spider-Man suit with Doctor Strange's cape on, which happened in the Marvel Zombies episode. We got, Spidey Supreme. That was a nice little Easter egg there. And then, everything that happened with Multiverse of Madness, Captain Carter coming through. I think there's so many opportunities where you can use What If as a bridge for, like, immediate payoffs in the live action MCU, that it's going to just... It has the ability to blow up the way that the MCU is now, where so many people are questioning, like, what's the end goal? And I hate that people do that, because going into the Marvel movies back in 2008 with Iron Man, and Dylan and I talked about this a little bit last week, like, we didn't know what the end goal was when Iron Man 1 came out. We honestly didn't even know the end goal, really what it was going to be, until the post-credit scene of Avengers 1. When we saw Thanos grab the Infinity Gauntlet, see his face and everything, that's really when we were like, oh, this is the direction it's going. And even, like, Kevin Feige didn't realize that they were building to an Avengers saga, really. Like, the post-credit scene of Iron Man with Nick Fury, like, that could have just been, like, a post-credit scene and it happens. But they continued to storytell and build, and the MCU came to be what it is now. What If, I think, is going to be that gateway to, I think the biggest thing since we saw it in season 1 of What If I think it's their number one opportunity to bring Killmonger back with Michael B. Jordan. I think it's an opportunity to tell more stories with Vision. Captain Carter is obviously like a mainstay of that. And then, oddly enough, I think it's a way for them to bring Black Widow back. Because Black Widow is involved in What If, and it's a different universe. So it's potential for them to bring Natasha Romanoff back, which would be very exciting because I want to see more of like her story potentially with characters around her. But I do think the animated shows are like their key to unlocking so much. And now that all the Netflix shows are under the Disney Plus umbrella, give us a What If Daredevil, give us a What If Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, like stuff like that. I think that's another way for them to storytell with those properties and make them MCU canon.
I'm excited to see if they decide to bring anyone back and how far they go with that timeline. Because, I mean, you can look, there's a lot of people in the MCU that they could decide to bring back. And then if they only do a couple, like, that's going to cause a lot of discourse because it's like, okay, why did they choose to bring these people back over these people? And then if they decide to do everyone, then it's like, so now what are we doing here? Like, does anybody ever die then? Like, does everybody just get to come back alive at some point? Like, if that's the case, when do I get to come back alive after I die? Like,
right?
let me know just so I can plan these things out and like I can, you know, set up dates again to watch more StreamerSZN stuff, you know, when I get back alive. Like, these things can be arranged.
I want to see the end of the MCU.
Literally, I want to see the end of the MCU. If you're telling me that's what I can do. So the number of possible, I mean, we could sit here and ramble about the possibilities of What If for literally hours because there are so many things in the MCU that What If can play off of, especially after you brought up bringing up Netflix and all those shows coming over. Like, that's literally a whole nother grouping because they're almost like modern day superheroes. Like they seem more like DC like superheroes than Avengers. Like,
it's like your street level stuff that
like they're normal people and then all of a sudden they just have like this crazy superpower. Like, wild opinion here, Batman's not a superhero. Like, he's literally just me with gadgets and a suit and a bat car. Like, if you gave me all that stuff, I'd be Batman. Like, he's literally no different than I am.
Yeah, it's wild that like Netflix pulled off the street level stuff so well. And so far Dylan and I have both agreed like the street level stuff with the MCU has been like subpar at best. And part of it is maybe the writing, part of it's, you know, Falcon and Winter Soldier rewrites that had to happen with the script and everything. But like a lot of it has been like hit or miss, and I really hope that they can like rebound and bring in like that intensity and like the like edge of your seat for the street level, just like the MCU has done with the cosmic level of stuff, because I think they've knocked that portion of the MCU out of the park. Like, they nail it almost every single time with stuff that's dealing with like extraterrestrial, outer space, real crazy superhero powers and stuff like that. So hopefully that happens with the street level stuff. And I think X-Men 97 is going to get crazy cult-like following stuff, because the show came out in 1992. Allegedly, X-Men 97 is going to be the first fully produced Marvel Studios project to not be part of the MCU. But from things we've seen so far in the live-action MCU, I have a hard time believing that they're going to make that the case. Because they're bringing back a lot of the voice actors who are still alive for this project. So it's going to be a lot of the original cast. It's going to be I'm intrigued because the show came out in 1992. I wasn't born yet. So like this will be my first, like, I remember, like, this will be the way that you'll kind of picture what this show is. The Wolverine touching the picture meme, that's from X-Men 97.
Right, yeah.
For people at home who may not know, because a lot of our listeners are, our age demographic, but that meme, that's from X-Men, 97 when it first came out. I'm intrigued by it just because I want to see it. Like, the X-Men movies, I never really got into them, and I don't know why. I'll eventually watch them at some point, but like, I know like bits and pieces, I know who some of the actors are from it and everything. Obviously, I know Hugh Jackman, but like, I never was really intrigued by the X-Men, but X-Men 97 might be like my way to, you know, diving into the mutant universe and figuring out why people are so crazed about them and everything, because I mean, there's some badass characters in the X-Men and with mutants and stuff, and we're going to get another mutant in Wakanda Forever because Namor from Atlantis is technically the MCU, is technically Marvel Comics, like he's listed as the first mutant. So that'll be exciting to get that introduction. And everybody that's worried about everything with X-Men and with the mutants and stuff, you got to remember the first project that Kevin Feige ever worked on as, you know, a production assistant or whatever was the first X-Men movie. That's how he got into this whole thing. So he's going to take the utmost intricate, detailed approach to bringing the X-Men in the proper way, bringing in mutants the proper way to the MCU and not fumble the bag. Like, that's his baby. It's going to be done the right way.
Yeah, I would agree. Like, there's very few people who can work with mutants the way he does. Like, being lucky enough to have X-Men be the first movie that you work on gives you that skill. Like, you're working with something that everyone doesn't work with every day. Like, there are certain people who only work with mutants in the industry because that's what they're good at.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a real advantage to have him, you know, taking over this and working with this project, because like it's setting up, like, even if he doesn't do a lot with X-Men 97 as far as bringing mutant back, like he's going to lay a blueprint on how to do it. So then when they do decide to bring in a lot, it's just going to be very easy because they have an entire step-by-step process to follow.
Exactly. And the other thing I'm excited, because I saw it just before we started recording tonight, James Gunn is going to be in attendance at San Diego Comic-Con. Everybody knows we love James Gunn on this podcast. Obviously, he's saving the DCEU with everything he's done with the Suicide Squad and with the Peacemaker show. But apparently he's going to be in attendance for one of the Marvel panels. And that gets me giddy for a number of reasons, because I feel like we're going to get a little bit of information potentially about the I Am Groot series that's coming out next month. I feel like we're going to get a little taste of potentially the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special that's supposed to reveal this big character in it. And I think we might get maybe our first look, potentially, or a tease of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. James Gunn's in attendance. Anything is possible.
That is very true. He could literally do anything. Be like, ha ha ha, we're dropping the movie Friday. See y'all later.
Exactly. Like, James Gunn is a wild card, and I love that about him. And I feel like we're 100% going to get something from him during one of these days at Comic-Con involving the Guardians of the Galaxy. My guess it'll be like maybe like a trailer or a teaser for the holiday special, since that comes out later this year. And there's an alleged like big character reveal in that. And I think it's also hilarious that we're getting 2 holiday specials this year that will both be MCU canon. We're getting a Halloween special, The Werewolf by Night, which I think Moon Knight will be involved with. And then obviously we're getting the Guardians holiday special. Plus, I mean, I Am Groot is like the first like mini series that James Gunn's allegedly saying is also not really MCU canon. But again, if it's a Marvel project from here on out, I have a hard time believing that it will not be somehow incorporated in the canon of the MCU.
I would agree. Like, they can say that all they want, but like I'm sure it's going to have some tie. And even if they don't believe it has a tie, we're all going to come up with some theory that ties it in. So therefore it has a tie because majority wins. So
exactly.
They should just give up on that.
We love MCU headcanons. And then the other big part from Comic-Con that is leaking out, because apparently there was a big like Marvel leak on Reddit of like people being in shows and movies and stuff like that. Christian sent it to me and I was like, nope, not looking at this. Get it away. Apparently it's been debunked, which is very good. But apparently one Henry Cavill is going to be at Comic-Con, aka DC's most recent Superman, where it was said that he was no longer going to be Superman in the DCEU, but apparently he's going to be there hyping up Superman, which is very intriguing because there was talks about him potentially moving on to the MCU to play a character that was unknown, but very interesting that Henry Cavill is going to be there potentially hyping up another Superman project, because it seemed like his days as Superman were pretty much done. especially if you've seen Peacemaker and saw that one scene. This is interesting to me because DC, again, and I told Dylan this last week, I feel like the big four in like nerd culture right now, and it might just be some recency bias for some of them, but I feel like everybody's talking about Marvel, Star Wars, Stranger Things, and The Boys. Those are like the big four right now of like what people want the most content from, and DC is kind of just chilling on the back burner simply because outside of the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, they haven't really pulled off a flawless or seamless project in who knows how long. But I think this is very intriguing, and if James Gunn is involved with more involving Superman or potentially anything with the DCEU, and it involves Henry Cavill, then I'll be somewhat excited if James Gunn's attached to it. But this, I think, is kind of interesting news, to say the least, that they're going to have Henry Cavill at Comic-Con allegedly hyping up Superman.
I mean, I've never been much of a DC fan. I've always thought a lot of their stuff just wasn't done well. Like, there's like, it seems so cliche, superhero. Like, Avengers is cliche sometimes, but like they find a way to spin it and like really like create a story, whereas like it's pretty much cookie cutter with DC, so that turned me off. But like this is really weird in my opinion. Like you said, like it seemed like Henry was done with Superman, and now he's like turning the page backward and like going back, and he's like, "Hey, I'm still Superman." It's like, are you? Like, and like, what is the studio doing? Like, what is going on over there? Like, can y'all figure out what y'all are doing? Like, did you tell him he could leave and then y'all couldn't find anybody else and told him he had to come back? Like, that's sad. If that's the case. Like, there's so many, like, obviously there's so many scenarios and factors we have no clue really on the outside looking in, but like, it just looks weird for both parties, in my opinion, for them to like go back on what looked like a done deal.
Yeah, and apparently, like, the big anticipation is that they're going to reveal Henry Cavill as Superman to appear in Black Adam, which is the new DC movie with The Rock, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, that has teased big cameos. So we'll see. I mean, the last time he appeared as Superman in the limelight was the Snyder Cut. But he's been, Superman as a character has appeared briefly in other DC things. He was in Shazam, and then y'all know that one bit. Did you watch Peacemaker?
I have not seen Peacemaker.
Okay.
Yet.
There's that one scene y'all know about in Peacemaker. Go listen to Dylan and I's reviews from that one, because that is right now. Peacemaker and Stranger Things are tied for our #1 show of the year. To put it in that context. Right. Dylan loved Peacemaker. I loved it too. It's very funny. John Cena crushes that role.
My guy.
He's the best.
I love John Cena.
So San Diego Comic-Con is going to be very fun. We're going to be following along with everything on social media this weekend, so make sure you're following us over there to stay up to date with everything we see coming from Comic-Con out in San Diego. That is a goal of mine too, is eventually one of these years be consistently going to like these like cons and events and stuff like that. That would be so fun to take like company trip to like San Diego Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con or something like that, and just be amongst the nerds.
I'm a nerd, so I mean,
facts. Need to be amongst our own,
amongst fellow nerds. Yes, talking about other fellow nerd things.
Yes. Which we're about to do now in the discussion den. We got a couple of topics in here that are very interesting. We'll kick it off with a very fun, wild quote from one Matthew Modine, DJ, one of the big Stranger Things enthusiasts at this company, like myself, like Dylan. Matthew Modine, who plays Dr. Brenner. And everybody knows, spoiler alert, if you have not watched Stranger Things season 4 at all, 1, what are you doing? 2, pause the episode, go watch it, and come back in about 2 days and listen to this discussion. So Matthew Modine doesn't think Dr. Brenner's dead, Deej. He said in a quote with Vulture, how did he survive the Demogorgon? How did he survive 1? And when 11 tries to use her power, she couldn't get it to work on him. Is there something more to Brenner than meets the eye? And he also has a follow-up quote here that says, I can't wait to work with Millie again. He brings up some valid points, because I think when everybody saw Brenner again this season in present day, we were like, how did he survive the Demogorgon from season 1? How did he survive everything, going on with 1 to put that chip in his neck? And that's a valid point too. When 11 goes to use her powers on him, doesn't work. We did see that body laying out there in that Nevada desert. Do you think Brenner's dead, or do you think Matthew Modine has a point here where like it could play into, Dylan and I talked about the Kaz the Bloody Handed theory with Eddie last week, where we both think Eddie could be alive in season 5. Do you think Dr. Brenner could be alive?
Y'all wild about Eddie. Eddie gone for sure. It's sad. It's sad, but Eddie gone.
Go check out that episode from last week. We break the whole thing down. Not saying he's gonna be alive in the real world.
Man's ain't
but
Here we go. You're on all that technicalities.
He's undead.
You're on the technicalities.
But now that the real world and the Upside Down are merged,
yeah,
there's a lot to it.
That's an interesting point, but yeah, no, I don't think Homeboy dead either.
Because it is like the fact that he was able to create all of those test subjects, like all the numbered kids, from Henry Creel, survive everything with Henry, to be able to put that chip in his neck, and then he's still on the lookout, as we come to find out, for him wherever the hell he ended up, which was, the Upside Down. I feel like this is such a fascinating theory to dive into now for season 5, and I wouldn't put it past the Duffer Brothers to bring him back, because they did it once before where we all thought he was dead after season 1, and then season 2 you see kind of the mind tricks from 8 bringing him back into the fold to kind of scare 11, but then you see him alive in season 4 and you're like, what the hell is going on? I think there's definitely something there where you could convince yourself that Dr. Brenner somehow survived those gunshot wounds.
Oh, absolutely. I wouldn't be surprised if he survived all of that and he's like chilling. What if it was all fake though? And like she just imagined that she did all of that and she didn't really.
Because at the point where Brenner, I'm going to put it in air quotes, dies, the U.S. government's out there looking for 11. And 11 brings their chopper down, blows it all up. So all those men outside are dead. And then when they come out from being in the Nina Project area, who's to say that, that scumbag military guy doesn't grab Brenner's body and, sees that he's still alive, and Brenner knows where 11's going. They're on the lookout for 11. He's on the lookout for 11. I wouldn't be shocked if that potentially happens.
And they pull up on her.
Yeah, it's confirmed.
1.
Season 5 is happening all in Hawkins. And Brenner knows that she's going to Hawkins to go help her friends.
Episode 1, they pulling up on her. Like, what up, though? Thought
which I think,
away?
Which I think adds to the other theory that I brought up last week, too. I feel like you and I have talked about this off pod. I think 8 is coming back into the fold in season 5. Because 11's going to need an army. And I basically compared 8 to how Spider-Man brought Andrew Garfield back to popularity, and how Star Wars recently brought Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker back into popularity, where before those two were kind of pushed to the side. Nobody really liked those properties they were in. But now they're these beloved, cherished characters. Even though it's a shorter amount of time, because season 2 for Stranger Things came out in 2017, by the time season 5 comes out, it'll be about 7 years removed from season 2. I think we could see that potentially happen where, she drops that, bootleg X-Men group, and it's just 8 coming through, because 8 has those powers that Henry Creel doesn't really know about too much because she escaped the lab when she was really young, and she helped Eleven tap into her full potential in season 2. And I think Eleven's going to need an army to beat Vecna, so I could see 8 coming back and that also playing a part in Brenner being around, all that kind of stuff. Man, Matthew Modine got the brain gears turning now for season 5.
Oh yeah, season 5 has a lot of possibilities. I'm excited because, like, I mean, first off, I was very upset with the way season 4 ended because I was like, you can't just end things like this. Like, excuse me. There's so much more that can
I need more, and I need it now.
I need it now. At least one more episode would have been perfect. Like 10 episodes in that season would have been perfect. But like,
I loved like the Infinity War Empire Strikes Back cliffhanger though, where it was like they lost and now they got to figure out how to fix things to win.
Yeah. But it's just like there's just so many different possibilities to go into that like I don't even want to think about it. I just want to watch and like put the puzzle pieces together as I watch. Because I noticed I've been doing that a lot recently with shows, is trying to dissect them before I watch, and then I get really upset when I'm completely wrong. So maybe I should just put them together as I watch.
That's hilarious. I'm excited to now that Stranger Things season 4 is like completely out, I'm excited to eventually sit down and binge start to finish season 1, episode 1 all the way through and watch like the progressions and everything. Because when my dad started watching it for the first time in May and like watching season 1 again, there's so many like little details from season 1 that they definitely used as inspiration for season 4. That was very exciting. I'm excited to do that watch along eventually. But man, Matthew Modine got the theories running. That's what we love on this show. We love when the actors come out and potentially say too much, or maybe it's supposed to happen. Another show that's coming back that I really wanted to dive into more than just kind of a quick hit, because oddly enough, you and I both saw this on Facebook, which I did not expect at all. And this was like one of those shows where back in the day it would be on Thursdays, which was also when Survivor was on, and it would be Survivor, then you'd have this show right afterwards. Survivor would be on for an hour, then this show would be on at 9 o'clock. Criminal Minds is coming back on Paramount Plus. It's been ordered for series, and here's the synopsis of what this new season is allegedly going to be about. DJ, this comes from Variety. In the new series, the FBI's elite team of criminal profilers come up against an unsub who has used the pandemic to build a network of other killers. When the world opens back up, the network goes operational, and our team must hunt them down.
So is that what's really happening, though? Is that what all these mass shootings are really
That's
about?
what I'm saying.
Like, now this has me thinking. Like, are y'all talking or are y'all...
Well... And I mean, I know a lot of the original... Like, it was, I think, 15 seasons they did of the original run of Criminal Minds. Like, they used inspiration from a lot of actual cases for the show. And I'm excited that a bunch of the original cast is coming back. Unfortunately, no Matthew Gray Gubler, which breaks my heart. But a bunch of the, like, we got Garcia coming back. We got Prentice coming back. Like, whole, like, squads deep for this, John. And Deadline Hollywood put out an article saying, for 15 seasons, Criminal Minds was at the forefront of cutting-edge scripted drama. Clemens said in a statement Thursday, the series never stopped evolving during its run, and we are beyond excited to bring it back. And that's what I'm hoping for now, especially with it being on a streaming service. Like, you kind of have more leeway to do things that you wouldn't be able to do on cable TV. So that excites me for this kind of show, too, where they're going to be able to, you could have longer episodes than you normally would on a normal traditional TV slot because it's on a streaming platform. And I think Criminal Minds, so many people, that was like as odd as it is to say, like, it's a comfort show for a lot of people to put on at night to watch. And it's one of those shows that, being on for 15 seasons, you gain such a diverse audience of different age groups, different demographics, and to bring it back, I've seen nothing but a positive response, and like a pleasantly like shocked response by the fact that this like iconic show is coming back.
Oh yeah, it's like one of those shows that like has gained, like you said, being on so long, like people have gained an emotional tie to the show as well. Like it's one of those shows that like season 15 came around and people were like crying at the end. Like it's one of those shows where like when people die or like their fucking wife decides to divorce them or stuff, people are like bawling their eyes out and like talking about it everywhere because it's like they feel like they're their friends and like they're a part of their life when like in reality these people don't even know them and just did it for a paycheck. Like like
Yeah.
you know, like it's crazy like the way that these shows have impact on everyone's lives, but like when it's on that long, it's one of those things. Like this show is going, like the ratings on Paramount Plus are going to boost through the roof because of Criminal Minds being back on. It like reminds me, I think A&E is getting a big boost now or soon. I think it's soon because they're putting out a new season of Blacklist, season 9 finally. Like people loved that show, and like the way it ended was such a cliffhanger, and people are like, when's the new season? When's the new season? Like it started so much discourse, they eventually decided to do it. They're going to get a huge boost as well. Like General Hospital still gets huge boost. Grey's Anatomy made a new season. They got a huge boost. Like shows that were on for a long time that if my generation watched it at some point in a younger life, if you bring it back now, it's going to boost like crazy because you're giving it all those old people nostalgia plus the new crowd that's coming in a chance to get into something that they haven't. And if they're anything like me, they refuse to watch the new season until they watched everything that went on before. So they go all the way back to the beginning.
Those restream things for 15 seasons of Criminal Minds is going to pop on Paramount Plus.
Pop, because now you got dudes watching 16 seasons of, you know, Criminal Minds back to back to back to back for like what, 3 months, 4 months.
And this getting announced now, the Paramount Plus subscription rate, I'm going to be fascinated to see how much that increases. Because it's eerily similar to like when Netflix had The Office and they had Friends, and then those shows left Netflix. You saw Netflix drop in subscribers. You saw Peacock gain a little bit for The Office, like on that first initial blitz of like, hey, we're putting The Office out with new, you know, never before seen content. With Friends and HBO Max, people are like, oh, I'm going to go where my show is. People are the same way about Criminal Minds. And now that there's a new season, people who don't have Paramount Plus are going to go on. They're going to binge 15 seasons of Criminal Minds for the next like year and a half, 2 years because of how many episodes there are per season. That's a lot of watching to do to get ready for a new season of this with nostalgic original characters in the show. And mind you, the show started and debuted in 2005, ran through 2020, and for a show that started back that long ago, still has an average audience score on Rotten Tomatoes of 85%.
Which is wild.
That's like Hall of Fame numbers.
Yeah, literal Hall of Fame numbers. Like, that is an amazing show. Like, it almost doesn't get better than that. Like, 85 means, like, you mess up, like, never. Like, that's so good for a show that's been on that long. Like, you've messed up such a minimal time that they literally just have to say it because you messed up.
Yeah, and it has an 8.1 out of 10 on IMDb, which I think is like the hardest grading scale of anything, and a 94% Google user approval. You're in the Hall of Fame with those numbers in my book. That's like all-time type of stuff. And I'm super pumped that this show's coming back, and like it's gonna make me want to go on a deep dive of watching some of those classic Criminal Minds episodes. Get ready for when this comes out. I don't know if they've announced exactly when. I'm going to check Paramount Plus here to see if they've announced like a time frame of when it's supposed to reveal. But this was like one of the more shocking, in such a good way, surprises I've seen in such a long time for TV, that Criminal Minds is coming back.
I'm not necessarily surprised. Like I think the number one like TV show genre is like crime.
Yeah.
Like crime TV, like that's what people want to watch. And like Criminal Minds does the perfect mix of like reality and crime. Like crime is the main thing because like everybody's trying to solve this crime, but like also it has all of the drama of the workplace and people's at home lives and their kids and like all that stuff. So like it gets that side of it in too. So now everybody wants to watch because they're tuned in for the drama, but they also want to see him solve the case. Does a really good job of mixing the two. So like, not surprised to see it come back, but I will cry if my Paramount Plus subscription goes up because $5 a month is very, very nice. Yes. Even if it goes to 10, I'll be upset. You know what I can do with $5? That's lunch.
I will say, I think Paramount Plus for the content that's on there, I feel like it is one of the more underrated and underutilized streaming platforms. You got all the Nickelodeon roster on there. You got all the MTV on there. You know, you get the original Spike TV type of stuff. You got Jackass on there. And now you're getting stuff, you know, all the CBS original. You got Survivor. You got everything with Criminal Minds now. Like, I feel like so many people just don't realize how good of a streaming platform, content-wise, Paramount Plus is.
It's such a good platform. I mean, I find myself on it once or twice a week. Like, just a lot of times it's at night, but it's, you know, it's just dumbing on something old, you know, from Spike or MTV, Nickelodeon. It's like a lot of comfort shows are on there. Like, people don't realize that's what it is. Like, but then again, a lot of people's comfort shows are Parks and Rec and The Office, Criminal Minds, Law and Order. So many people watch Law and Order. So like, yeah, I would agree. Paramount Plus kind of just gets looked over, but it's honestly a gem in the making, especially only being $5. And I think a lot of people get it free with their cable as well.
Yeah.
So.
And if you had CBS All Access before, that's what Paramount Plus is. So
yep.
I think the one thing that Paramount Plus just needs for that explosion is that one big original programming thing. Get that, like, you know, their type of, you know, Stranger Things, their type of, you know, stuff that's like an original Paramount production. And I think they're trying to do that with the Halo series that came out, which I've heard mixed reviews on, good and bad. But they need something that's like a banger like that to really like entice people to go in, and then they'll explore the catalog that is on Paramount Plus to really like see the bang for the buck. Speaking of bang for the buck, the first trailer for Welcome to Wrexham, which is the docuseries kind of going behind the scenes and following along with Wrexham AFC, the soccer club that should probably be the official soccer team of this podcast because Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds are the team owners. They're doing like what's basically, Matt and I talked about it tonight on Underground Sports Philadelphia too a little bit. It's almost like a Hard Knocks, but a deeper dive. It's going to be on FX and Hulu. Watching the trailer alone, you and I watched it before we started recording, it has me wanting to run through a wall and just watch. I want to like sit down and watch this right now. It's coming out August 24th on FX, and it'll be streaming on Hulu as well. And for anybody listening in the UK, it'll be on Disney Plus because Disney owns FX. But man, like, to kind of get like a different perspective of Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds from like their business side of things, and then going behind the scenes, like we saw like what was a quote unquote gym for them was a broom closet.
It was unreal to see like a team at that level would have something like that, and I'm just excited to see like them coming in from a totally different realm. Like, you know, like they're not athletes at all. They're, you know, movie stars, TV stars, and they're putting their money into something that this community loves so much. So they get a lot of love for that, but also like I'm excited to see like what kind of spin they put on it. I'm assuming they're not really putting in their own ideas, so I'm excited to see like talking to the other people that are kind of behind them. Because really, the way I see it is they're there, they show their face, like, yeah, we're here, we support you guys.
They put the money in.
We want to be a part of this community, but in all reality, they're literally just like, here's the money, but then there's a whole group of people behind them that are like, well, the club needs this and this and this and this, and like we'll be able to talk to them and get their, you know, their side of how things have gone and like how they feel about, you know, the guys coming in and helping out. Like I'm really excited because one thing I can say about soccer, football, whatever you want to call it, the fans are like no other. Like one of the quotes was like, this is not, it's like, it's not football, it's not a game, it's more, it's like, it's not even life or death, it's more than life or death. Like, and that is how they treat that. Like it goes beyond just a game, and I love it. So I'm excited to see that portion of it as well.
They turned an Elvis Presley song into a soccer chant. Like, I Can't Help Falling in Love with You is one of my favorite songs, and they turned it into a soccer chant, which is just beautiful. I'm excited. Like, we're totally going to be talking about it on this show, no doubt about it. Pipe Dream, Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney come on the show. I mean, they're two of my favorite actors of all time. Deadpool gets dropped in the trailer as well. There's a young fan who said, you know, me and my dad figured because Wrexham is red and Deadpool's red, that's why you bought the team. And Ryan Reynolds, yeah, that's exactly that was the plan the whole time. I just love them. So I'm very excited to kind of get that behind the scenes look and see how it builds and follow along with that. And Wrexham AFC might have to be the official, football club of StreamerSZN simply because Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney. And another topic too that we're going to talk about here in the discussion den. We typically talk about the business side of things when news comes up, and this is like the most prominent, typical, business side of things with streaming is Netflix and their subscriber counts and everything. In quarter two, Deej, they lost 970,000 subscribers. A lot of this stems from price hikes on Netflix's subscription, them trying to crack down on password sharing as well. A lot of people are just like, all right, Netflix, we lost our comfort shows like we talked about earlier, like Friends and The Office aren't on Netflix anymore. It's been a long time until now with Stranger Things that you've put out original content that's like certified bangers. We're just going to go divvy up that $19.99 a month for Netflix on other streaming platforms and get more bang for our buck. I think, and there's a follow-up to Netflix forecasting that they're going to gain 30K more subscribers than what they lost. They're projecting to gain 1 million subscribers in quarter three, which I'm sure is in big part due to Stranger Things, due to Upside Down Pictures getting announced with the Duffer Brothers and projects coming out there, and other stuff too coming to Netflix. Obviously on Friday, The Gray Man comes out, new CIA spy thriller with Chris Evans, Ana de Armas, and the Russo brothers directing that. So there's some projects on Netflix that are coming. I've said this for the longest time with Netflix. They were built on original programming, and then they brought in the other curated content like Friends and stuff like that along the way. But Netflix made their money with these original titles and people falling in love with the original titles that they were putting out. And I feel like over the past couple of years, due to the pandemic and everything, the title of Netflix original kind of lost its luster a little bit because they weren't putting enough resources into those originals. But I feel like Netflix will be on the rebound. They just kind of have to cater to their subscribers more, and you can't hike the price up when you're not putting that original content out that people are like yearning for. You can't hike it up that much. You can't do the crackdown on password sharing when you have an old tweet that says, best friends share passwords back in like 2016. Like, you're going to get called out for that in 2022 because people find old tweets.
Reasons I hope I never go famous.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm
Netflix
canceled, I'm sure. I don't even know what I said, but I'm sure I'm getting canceled.
Netflix losing those subscribers, you kind of saw it coming because nobody really even knew what to expect from Stranger Things Season 4. I knew a lot of people that were doubting that it was going to be good because it had been so long. But obviously it's, the show of the year, and it's nominated for 13 Emmys. but Netflix is going to be fine. You know, a lot of people think Netflix is like going down the toilet now, and, you know, it's the rise of all these other streaming platforms. Netflix is always going to be there. And I think with stuff like Stranger Things, with stuff, you know, people were disappointed with Ozark from what I was told. I haven't watched it yet, so we'll see how I enjoy that show. But I think as Netflix continues to grow and add more original programming in, now that, you know, it's easier to film things in, you know, a post-hardcore pandemic world, Netflix will be fine and will rebound. It's just a matter of them putting the resources behind stuff that people want to watch, and then not losing rights to certain things that people are coming to them for on that comfort side of things, which made sense when, you know, Peacock and HBO Max came around to lose Friends, to lose The Office, but you also have to, you know, cater to a widespread audience to retain those people, and I think HBO Max has done a good job of that. I think Disney Plus has done a good job of that, and, you know, like we talked about earlier, I think Paramount Plus is on the verge of that. Netflix just has to really put out a good stretch of bangers, whether it's shows or movies, and those subscriber counts will level out and they'll be fine.
I just don't think Netflix cares that much in all reality. Like, a lot of people keep Netflix for when, you know, someone comes over and they're not really paying any attention, but they still pay it every month. Like, Netflix is not really that worried about a couple, you know, it's literally not even 1 million people. They have, for every 1 million people who drop, they have another 1 million who are still subscribed, you know, so it's like not that big of a deal. But the Netflix original content does bother me, because, like, there was a point in time where, like, you could just click on a random Netflix original movie and it was going to be an absolute banger and you knew it.
That's what Stranger Things was in the beginning. Nobody knew what Stranger Things was. You clicked on it, you watched it, and you were hooked.
Yeah, and now it's just like you could watch a Netflix original and be like, "What the fuck did I just watch?" Like,
right,
that was literally awful. I have no clue which, like, did it even have a plot and a storyline? Like, probably not. It's been awful recently, and it's really lost its touch. So that could revamp them if they were to come back and, like, just drop out some really raw Netflix original content. Like, I'm down for it. I'm still rocking Netflix. I mean, I ain't paying our subscription. My mom does. So
right.
as long as
shout out my cable bill.
As long as you're watching something, I'll watch, you know? So I think,
and I think too, with Netflix, like, they have put out a few bangers in a row now. Like, I think Hustle was something that got talked about a ton, and then Stranger Things happened. I think the hype around the new animated show, which the animation looks amazing. I'm sorry, it's a movie. The Sea Beast on Netflix. It's like a family type movie, but, like, the animation style almost looks like a first of its kind. It looks incredible. I can't wait to sit down and watch that. And then you have Gray Man coming out. You have a bunch of stuff coming to Netflix that, and, you know, later this year, you're going to have Knives Out 2, which Knives Out 1 was a wildly incredible success. You're going to have Knives Out 2 later this year around Christmas. So I think Netflix will be fine. I think everybody makes a big deal about Netflix's subscriber loss because in quarter one, that was the first time in 20 years that they lost subscribers. So it's kind of a first type of situation for them where they're navigating the subscriber loss. And hopefully it doesn't affect, you know, too much to where the programming, like the original programming, gets affected in terms of what they can pour assets into and stuff like that. And I think Netflix still has, you know, the pull on the comedy world. They have the Adam Sandler universe pretty much on lock, which I think is huge for them. And just continue to pump into the original content. Don't worry about the side stuff, because that'll be there. You can acquire side stuff if you're Netflix. If you can pump into the original content more and more and more, that's where you're going to bring in your subscriber count again. So that's what I'm excited to watch and see if quarter 3 Netflix bounces back, which I fully expect they will. But that's always something fun to kind of keep track of in this new age of Netflix kind of being dethroned as the subscriber king with so many platforms out there. But that's your business news in the discussion den. And Deej, that brings us to everybody's favorite segment. It is the streaming platform Multiverse News and Notes, brought to you by the homies over at Pickup. You guys can go to playpickup.com now, start playing the hottest headlines in sports, rack up points on your fan profiles, cash them in for prizes on the Pickup marketplace. That's playpickup.com. Deej, we got Mortal Kombat 2 officially happening. We had the first one come out in April of 2021. On HBO Max. Simon McCoy will return to direct, so we got Mortal Kombat 2 happening. We got a new trailer for House of the Dragon, the Game of Thrones spin-off, which everybody has a ton of mixed reviews on, simply because of how Game of Thrones ended. And we also got a first trailer. I don't know if this is going to be on streaming or if this is a theaters thing. We got the first trailer for Halloween Ends, which I know is right up your alley with the...
That is a theater thing.
Okay.
I am a huge Halloween guy. Like, I have seen every Halloween movie more than once. Even though it's literally the exact same storyline. And I don't understand why they don't just let him kill his sister and his mom and then lock him up forever. Like, he doesn't want to do anything but kill his sister and his mom. Like, yes, that's awful. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a very sick human being and it definitely has a problem and shouldn't be trying to kill his mom and his sister. But why let him terrorize the town when you could just let him kill two people and then lock him up forever? Like, it just makes zero sense to me. He's been terrorizing this town for a bajillion and 1 years because he wants to kill two people. All these lives lost for what?
For two.
And she keep trying to kill him, but obviously he's indestructible. They didn't lit him on fire. They didn't shot him. They didn't stabbed him. Like, they didn't done everything to this man. He just gets up and keeps walking.
I get knocked down, but I get up again, and you're never gonna keep me down.
Literal devil, man. Like, but I'm super excited for Halloween Ends. Like, I actually think he is gonna die in this one. Like, this has to be the last one, right? Like, it's literally Halloween Ends. Like, there's no way to revamp Halloween after it ends, right? So, like, I'm wondering, how do you kill Michael Myers? Like, that's my big thing with this. Is like, I'm excited for the end when they finally kill him and then everybody kind of just moves on with their life. Like, that is my favorite thing about these kind of movies, is like the post climactic scene. Like, everybody, things happen, they kill a guy or lock him up or whatever, and then everybody just like lives normally after that. Like, that is my favorite thing. Like, nobody even thinks about it anymore. Like, that is not how that works in the world. Like, if somebody's been trying to kill you for 40 years and they finally get locked up, like, you think for the rest of your life if they're going to break out and kill you. Like, please be realistic in these movies. Like,
which, did you know there is a horror movie and show streaming platform?
Really?
Yeah. I would love for them to sponsor this podcast because I know they do podcast ads. It's called Shudder.
Ooh. I might have to look into that.
And they have, some of the classics, Halloween is on there. They got a lot of the classics. They got original kind of stuff on there too, but it is, they got like sci-fi, horror, thriller type stuff on there. And Shudder, if you're listening, please sponsor us because that would be electric. But yeah, so Halloween Ends will be there. We talked about the X-Men earlier. Apparently, Kevin Feige is the only one who knows the master plan for the mutants, which makes the most sense. The next bit here, Dune 2 is now filming. Obviously, Dune 1 came out on HBO Max in 2021, and it will be in theaters, and I'm sure on HBO Max shortly after when that one drops. Deej, do you want to feel really old?
Yes.
A couple days ago, on that day, July 18th, 14 years ago, was the debut of Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight.
That
2008.
That literally makes even me feel old.
Yeah.
Yikes. Like, I always be saying I'm old because my body be hurting, I get tired and stuff, but man, that makes me feel old.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite movies of all time.
It's a fantastic movie. One of the best DC movies, even though I don't really think Batman's a superhero. That's it's another conversation for another time. But I think it was a phenomenal DC movie, which makes me really hyped for Black Adam. I think Black Adam has very good potential. I don't think it'll be as good as Dark Knight, but I do believe like it has potential to be near that top realm of DC movies, just from what I've seen in the trailers.
Yeah, I think it can. Like, if it reaches full potential, I think it'll be discussed in like the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker of the new age of DC. Gonna make you feel old again. How much Powerpuff Girls did you watch back in the day?
Tons.
Well, I am pleased to deliver some fun news for you. Powerpuff Girls animated reboot series is in development, with the OG creator Craig McCracken returning for the project.
Let's go. That's gonna be hype. And like
very hype.
Are they gonna be like still girls, or like are we gonna get Powerpuff women? Like,
right.
It's been a long time. Like Bubbly's gotta be like 40.
Who was your favorite Powerpuff Girls villain?
Oh, what was his name? I forgot. It was definitely a little monkey looking guy.
Mojo Jojo.
Mojo Jojo. Absolutely.
I am Mojo Jojo. And the Powerpuff Girls will not defeat me.
I thought he was just funny looking.
They had some of the coolest looking villains, like Mojo Jojo with the fucking brain cap, him, the devil looking guy, Fuzzy Lumpkins, the country hick, the Rowdy Rough Boys, the little princess girl too. Like Powerpuff Girls had some unreal like villains in that show.
Popped off. It was a top tier show at its time.
Yes. Are you a Hunger Games guy, Deej?
I am a Hunger Games guy.
So they're doing a Hunger Games prequel, which is called The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. And the icon himself, Peter Dinklage, has been cast for the prequel.
I actually did a bit on this my radio show the other day. The prequel is all about like what happened like leading up to Panem. And it's like a young Cornelius Snow has to train up a girl from District 12 to go in. So like it's really wild. Like I'm actually really excited for it. Like I didn't see them doing anything else with Hunger Games after everything finished off, but going backward is the perfect way to like keep this relevant. So I'm really excited to see kind of what they do with this, and obviously dropping Peter Dinklage in anything gives it like 5 more points at the minimum. Yes. So I'm excited to see where this goes.
We're a big Peter Dinklage podcast. He's in the pantheon of people. We see his name, we're all over it. Premiering 6 years ago on July 15th, which was just, earlier this week, Deej. Stranger Things Season 1. The season that started it all.
That was so long ago.
It's so unreal to think about.
Yeah.
Just how it's built in such a short amount of time, really, into this cultural phenomenon.
Like short but long.
We did get a new trailer for The Lord of the Rings, The Ring of Power, the series coming to Amazon Prime in September. And we've been kind of chronicling this because I'm intrigued by this movie. So Madam Web, which is going to be in the Sonyverse. She's like kind of the ruler of the multiverse for Spider-Man. Basically being compared as like the Doctor Strange of the Sonyverse. This cast so far for this movie is pretty wild, Deej. So we've got Dakota Johnson, Sydney Sweeney, and Emma Roberts all in this movie already. And being cast alongside those 3 ladies, Adam Scott. People who may not recognize Adam Scott's name off rip, think singing brother from Step Brothers in that iconic car ride scene. That's Adam Scott for you. He will be in Madam Web, according to Deadline. That movie, as much as people want to bag on the Sonyverse, and I'm a huge Venom guy, so I think the 2 Venom movies are very fun. Madam Web has me crazy hype.
That one's going to be pretty hype. Like actually just from, I don't know too much about it because I haven't seen anything yet or read up on it, but that cast, top tier. And I mean, that's only 4 people. So like I would assume it gets better. Like it's kind of hard to have those 4 and then be like, yeah, we're going to get a bunch of bums to go alongside them. So like, I'm really excited to see kind of how that turns out because the cast sounds amazing. I mean, Emma Roberts, everything she touches is gold.
Gold. And I mean, Sydney Sweeney's just like walking like eyeballs now. Everybody wants to see anything Sydney Sweeney's in. We did get confirmation from Stranger Things Season 4 via Noah Schnapp, Deej. 100% clear that Will is gay and loves Mike.
I did see that.
And everybody that's been complaining about it, just let me talk to you for a second. Think back to Season 3 with Robin and the reveal of her being gay. You got to take into perspective that this show is taking place in the 80s and how difficult it was to come out as gay or as bisexual or anything that wasn't the societal norm in the 80s. I think Stranger Things has done a fantastic job at hinting at it and making it that difficult emotional thing where so many people have been able to connect to Will and their personal struggles of potentially coming out. I think it's been done almost flawlessly, and I tip my hat to the Duffer Brothers for not just flat out doing it and making it, time period, prominent and showing that difficulty and that emotional buildup that Will, possesses in Season 4. I think they've done it flawlessly to show, like, that emotional, like, heartbreak that it can, put on a person in the 80s to have to kind of hide who they actually are as a person.
The attention to detail in the entire series is what has made it so good. Like, the scene where everyone is really, like, that kind of, they're connecting to Will being gay and, like, coming out is kind of exactly how it is. Like, at that time period, like, he was literally just like, what's the big deal? Like, I'm right here. Like, all of this. And, Mike's not paying attention to any of it, turns away, and he's literally, like, crying. Like, if you can't tell right there, like, you shouldn't, you're lost. Yeah. And, like, that's probably why you can't notice now as well. Like, that is very clear cut what's going on. And, like, it probably happened more often than what people think. And it probably made a lot of people, like, look back and go, whoa, so that's what that was about. And it's like, you have to just be what's the word? Like, you just have to understand, like, that's how things are. And, like, when you're making something for such a vast audience, you have to appeal to everyone. So there's going to be things in, shows and movies that you don't like, and you just have to suck it up and understand that they're appealing to not only the time period, but also their audience.
100%. I don't know if you saw this, but the director of the Gremlins, Joe Dante, said that Grogu, obviously of Mandalorian fame, Baby Yoda, is a, quote, shameless ripoff of Gizmo.
No way.
He also says he's not thinking about suing Disney over it, but what a wild statement.
Man,
to say Grogu is a shameless ripoff of Gizmo.
Man, it's just trying to be relevant. Shameless ripoff, but I ain't gonna sue. Like, what?
Okay.
Like, that makes zero sense, sir.
None at all. Let's see what else I have on the docket here. I'm gonna have you do this. This comes from Culture Crave. Rank these 4 MCU villains. So we got the Green Goblin, obviously Spider-Man No Way Home and original Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. The Mandarin from Shang-Chi. The Scarlet Witch, obviously from Doctor Strange. And then, I don't know if you've seen the movie, but I'm sure you've seen trailers. Gore the God Butcher from Thor Love and Thunder.
I think I'd have to go Gore, Green Goblin, Scarlet Witch,
and then the Mandarin.
And then Mandarin last, yeah.
I agree with the Mandarin being last. Not that he was a bad villain, because I think
No.
he was a very good villain. I just think it was short-lived. And I don't know if we'll ever see the Mandarin again.
And
but I liked him in that movie as a villain.
Yeah, and then there's just so much going on with the other three. Like, first off, Green Goblin, like, granted, probably shouldn't even be second looking at, you know, kind of the abilities. But
yeah, Green Goblin's my number one, especially knowing, like, that Willem Dafoe did his own scenes for that movie. Just put it, like, he's my number one MCU villain of all time. Like, he surpassed Thanos for me simply from incorporating everything from the original Tobey Maguire movie and then seeing the way how psychotic he was in No Way Home. Just hands down the best MCU villain of all time to me so far.
Yeah, it's just like it's the nostalgia and the emotional tie that keeps him so high. But there's something about the power and like passion and aggression that you have to use to fight Thor that makes his villains kind of just take another. I'm an action guy. Like the action in Thor movies is just so much bigger because of just the guy he is, the type of powers he has. Like you have to come with a lot of aggression and power and passion, so it makes for great movies. And that's why I think, just from what I saw in the trailers, I give him a little nudge that may end up changing and Goblin may end up taking over, but just that idea of the action that comes along with Thor movies gives him that little bit of an edge. And then, I mean, Scarlet Witch is Scarlet Witch. Like,
yeah,
doesn't really get better, but doesn't get worse.
My ranking's going to go Green Goblin, Scarlet Witch, Gore, the Mandarin. Now, I have seen Thor Love and Thunder, and knowing the montage / big chunk of gore that allegedly got cut from the movie to keep it at a PG-13 rating to then be put elsewhere made me very sad. Because apparently there was like a half-hour montage of Gore god butchering that was cut. Yeah, that made me sad to find that out after I saw the movie.
What? I need to find that footage.
Yeah, I need that released ASAP because apparently there was footage of Gore. Like Christian Bale said, he filmed with Peter Dinklage and Jeff Goldblum, obviously being from the Thor Ragnarok stadium, everything with the collector's brother, and then Peter Dinklage with Eitri and everything from Infinity War and Endgame. Makes me think Gore might have butchered them. Which would have been wild. But it made me bummed that we didn't get to see this alleged, hardcore montage of Gore doing some god butchering. But I think from what I saw in the movie and everything, Christian Bale as Gore the God Butcher was a fantastic choice. I thought Gore was a fantastic villain. But he's going to be number 3 for me there. The Mandarin, like I said, I think the Mandarin was a very good, plot character for that movie. Like, he was pretty much a standalone movie villain, and I like how they brought it, full circle of telling you who the real Mandarin was as opposed to it being Ben Kingsley and everything. And I thought, he was badass in that movie as well. That fight scene with Shang-Chi was unreal, and I really enjoyed the Mandarin as a character. Scarlet Witch in Multiverse of Madness was fucking psychopath, and I loved it. I loved seeing that side of Elizabeth Olsen. I love seeing, the evil, dark, twisted, characteristics that Sam Raimi put on her. And she was just hardcore, evil Scarlet Witch, which I loved. And then, like I said, Green Goblin is just pantheon of all pantheons, like my number one MCU villain, hands down. But let us know in the YouTube comment section how you feel about those rankings there. Last bit here. DJ will like this. Jordan Peele on a Get Out sequel. Quote, "Never say never. There's certainly a lot to talk about left."
Speaking of Jordan Peele, I mean, obviously Get Out 2 would be immaculate. I thought Get Out 1 was fantastic. I know a lot of people who say that's one of their favorite movies right now. But he also is coming out with the movie Friday.
Nope. I love the movie title. Nope.
Should we go see it?
I'm down.
I'll be in town.
Yeah.
Like, why not? Like, Jordan Peele is the man. I'm excited.
And I'm not normally like horror movies, like they're, to me, like a lot of them are so predictable in the way that they're done. Jordan Peele movies are just next level, and they're like the horror movies that I'm like so down to see. Like Us was chilling. Get Out was chilling. I mean, Nope looks like it's going to be absolutely insane, which has me excited. Deej, how much do you think Tom Cruise will reportedly make from Top Gun Maverick? Blockbuster hit. Everybody loved it.
A couple mil, right?
If a couple means 100 mil, you nailed it. Tom Cruise will reportedly make $100 million from Top Gun Maverick.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Do you know what I could do with
100 mil?
100 mil? Like, bruh. I wouldn't need it for anything ever again.
Yeah. It'd be wild.
We'd have an HQ. I tell you that.
That's for damn sure. And then the last bit here on another underrated streaming platform, Apple TV Plus is going to have a spin-off series of Godzilla starring a father-son duo that we've seen in the MCU. Kurt and Wyatt Russell will star in the Godzilla spin-off series on Apple TV Plus.
That's going to be fire. I like Godzilla.
That has me excited. The Godzilla verse is very intriguing to me.
The Godzilla versus Kong was fire, so
yeah,
I'm excited to get into more Godzilla. And is this going to be like live action, animated? Like,
yeah,
you know,
I feel like it'll be live action, but
see kind of where they go with this. You know, they kind of have free hands to do whatever. So, what if it's like hybrid? You know, like one of those hybrid shows that have like live action with the cutaway animated scenes, or like vice versa. Like, yeah,
yes.
I would love that. Like, imagine having an animated and then it just like cuts away live action to like a real Godzilla. Like, yeah,
that'd be sick. I also have here, you know, we talk about Dune 2 now filming. Here is the synopsis for Part 2. This follow-up will explore the mythic journey of Paul Atreides as he unites with Chani and the Freeman while on a warpath of revenge against the conspirators who destroyed his family. Facing a choice between the love of his life and the fate of the known universe, he endeavors to prevent a terrible future only he can foresee. Dune was awesome. The first Dune movie was great. Loved it, especially if you watch it with a Star Wars lens on to kind of understand the concept. I'm so excited for Dune 2, and I think Chalamet was fantastic as Paul Atreides. So very excited for that. Very excited for more Zendaya in that universe space too. I think that intrigues me the most because her character was such a mystery and like only used so subtly at the end. I'm intrigued to see how they use her character in Part 2.
I'm intrigued with anything that has Zendaya in it. That's my wife. That ain't my wife.
Look out, like, Tom. Look out, like, Tom.
Just like Rihanna's my wife, that ain't my wife.
Since this is your first time on StreamerSZN, DJ, I wanted to bring this up. Dylan and I talked about this a little bit last week or the week prior. I'm going to have you try to guess every movie that has made $1 billion at the box office. I'll give you a few hints here. There are 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. There's 26 all time that have made $1 billion at the box office.
All right, Avatar.
Avatar. Yeah, it has to be on here. Don't know why I don't see it, but it's got to be on here. Why am I not seeing it? I mean, Avatar's the graphic on this graphic here, so it's got to be on there.
I'm like, yeah, like that's like
Yeah.
damn near the #1 grossing movie of all time. Infinity War.
Mm-hmm.
Shit.
You're definitely going to be surprised by a lot of them.
I'm trying to think of some movies that I know just popped off. And I feel bad because like I have a rewards card to the movies. Like I go to the movies. Like it's not like I don't know movies. Like
I'm sorry, it's more than 20. There's 50. I was on page 2.
Oh yeah, you might as well just cut me short. I ain't even gonna get close.
So that's why I didn't see them. I was on page 2. So Avatar, yes. Avengers: Infinity War, yes. Avengers: Endgame. Titanic is number 3 all time. The Force Awakens for Star Wars. Spider-Man: No Way Home made $1.9 billion. Jurassic World, $1.67 billion. The Lion King, the live-action Lion King, like CGI version. The original Avengers movie from 2012. Fast and Furious 7. Frozen 2. Avengers: Age of Ultron, Black Panther, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. For the people at home who don't know, DJ is a massive Harry Potter fan.
Massive.
Star Wars: The Last Jedi, Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom, Frozen 1, the live-action Beauty and the Beast, Incredibles 2, The Fate of the Furious, Iron Man 3, Minions, Captain America: Civil War, Aquaman 1, and then moving to that second page, The Return of the King, Spider-Man: Far From Home, Captain Marvel, Transformers, can't read the title on there. It's one of the Transformers movies. Top Gun: Maverick made $1.11 billion. James Bond: Skyfall, the 007. Transformers: Age of Extinction, Jurassic Park, The Dark Knight Rises, Joker with Joaquin Phoenix, The Rise of Skywalker, Toy Story 4, Toy Story 3, Pirates of the Caribbean: Dead Man's Chest, The Lion King, Rogue One, Star Wars movie, Aladdin, Pirates of the Caribbean, On Stranger Tides, Despicable Me 2, Finding Dory, Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, Alice in Wonderland, Zootopia. Which one is this? Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
Yes.
The Hobbit, and Batman: The Dark Knight. Those are the 50 movies all time that have made $1 billion at the box office. Any surprises? Zootopia was a pleasant surprise for me. That's one of my favorite Disney movies.
That wasn't a surprise to me. I think that's like one of the best Disney. Like Zootopia popped off. Like,
so good. I saw it in the theater.
I saw that in theater, and I've seen it multiple times since it's been out of theater. Like
so good.
No shame in that. I think it's awesome. Like the sloth at the DMV. Yeah.
Flash is one of the best animated characters ever.
Yes. I absolutely love that movie.
It's one of the funniest moments ever.
It's
not that it's surprising, but it is kind of surprising with all these new movies and everything. Titanic still being number 3 all time is pretty wild.
But I feel like everybody going back to see if Jack could fit on with Rose, in which he could have.
And then, I mean, I still think Avengers Endgame should be number one because Avatar got re-released in theaters how many times? And Avengers was in theaters for 53 days.
I heard something about Jack not being real. She fabricated him, and that's why he never made it on. I'm like, why can't women take accountability for anything? Like, he did it. He was there. She didn't let him on, and that's her fault. Like, that's it.
I am surprised more Harry Potter movies are not on this list.
I'm not.
Let the people know what's your favorite Harry Potter movie.
Mine is easily Goblet of Fire. But I think that's because I read all the books first, and Goblet of Fire was like the book that gave you the most like information, but you also still had to use your imagination at the same time. Like the combination of information and imagination was spot on. She did a fantastic job with that book. And then the movie turned out exactly how I thought it would, because obviously, they changed up things, but the changes didn't take away from anything in the book. Like, it didn't make me go like, oh, that wasn't in the book, or oh, that's not how that happened in the book. It just was like, oh, that's a pleasant change. Versus like a lot of the other movies, it was like, that didn't happen, or why did they do that? Like, they should have did it this way. Like, so I thought Goblet of Fire was done very, very well.
And it still fucked J.K. Rowling, but my favorite's Prisoner of Azkaban.
Yeah, that's also a very good one.
I love Gary Oldman.
Yes, he was a fantastic role for Sirius. I think he just the look, the way he played it, the voice. I was like, this is like he was what I envisioned when reading about Sirius. Like that's what I envisioned him looking like.
He's who I want to play the MCU Mephisto,
Ooh.
aka the MCU's devil.
Yes,
that'd be so good.
I like that.
Deej, how was your streamer season debut?
Dude,
how'd you feel?
Absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. This was awesome. I mean, just kicking back, talking about movies and TV shows is almost as fun as what talking about lacrosse, which we'll do that pretty soon too. So,
exactly.
I was happy to get on though, and it definitely won't be my last time. This is
sure.
Awesome.
As it says in our Twitter bio, it's where shows and movies meet book club, so everybody's invited to book club. Make sure you guys are following us on the socials at StreamerSZN on Twitter and Instagram, especially if you're looking forward to that juicy, tasty MCU San Diego Comic-Con content, because we're going to be tweeting about it all weekend long. Follow DJ on Twitter at SCS_NextGreat. Follow Dylan on Twitter at Dylan Mazzola. Send him movie and show recommendations for his flight home from Canada. Maybe Brother Bear with the amount of A references there. What do you spy? Tree. Follow me at KBIZZL311. Make sure you enter our giveaway for the Wolverine number 22 variant cover comic with Brian Dawkins on the front. It is the pin tweet over at Underground PHI. You got to follow Streamer Season to enter. So kill two birds with one stone right there, and you can get another entry as long as you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Subscribe there, smash the like button, click the bell icon, and of course, leave comments down below with everything we talked about on the show today, and shows and movies you're looking forward to watching or have watched, and recommend them to us, whether they're good, bad, or in between. We love a good bad movie to watch as well. And of course, subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Leave those 5-star ratings and reviews with those show recommendations as well. Big thank you to our sponsors, Tomahawk Shades, Kenwood Beer, and Bino. All their information is linked with our promo codes in the show notes on audio and linked in the description on YouTube. Use our promo codes. Help us put food on the table. And this has been another episode of Streamer Season, the exclusive TV and movie podcast for streaming platforms on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network. DJ is now Streamer Season canon, so we can talk about him full-blown moving forward as a Streamer Season character. Dylan will be back next week, fully rested from his trip to Canada. But until then, we are going to get the heck out of here and potentially see if that synopsis for Criminal Minds is real life or not. But until then, we are signing off. Peace.
Peace.